So let's speak for a moment about the complexity of geothermal resources. You and I were at the Hot Springs conference. I've been to, hundreds of conferences in my life. I never had geophysicists come and speak about fracturing and finding your water. And it made me think about the complication of that we don't have in traditional spa. You turn on the lights, the water runs out of the faucet, we're good to go. I mean, what challenges does it present to have a resort operating on a geothermal model?
Yeah, we have to remember that nature is dynamic. It's
Mm.
not. The first thing we focused on in our due diligence for the Murrieta Hot Springs Resort, as well as the expansion in Pagosa, was what is our water resource? How certain are we of it? How will we design that system, manage that system so that it is run efficiently and that the water can be kind of unadulterated and pure to the pool while maintaining temperature that the guest wants. And so it really, I think that's the difference maker. It's obviously the difference maker in our offering, but also in the design. Is the water is the central theme through all of what we talk about and think about. To the broader discussions that we had at the conference, every state has different water rights and different governing bodies, and that adds a layer of complexity to, I think, the consideration of development or building out of hot springs properties. Makes it difficult to scale, I'll say that, because you got to do it differently in every state.
Well, we have that model in our country in so many ways. I mean, I appreciate how the states evolved. Being from Philadelphia, I understand when we signed the declaration what the intent was, but it is complicated in a business setting to have 50 sets of rules to navigate. At Murrieta, where are your guests coming from?
Primarily Southern California, San
Uh,
Diego, LA, and all of the adjoining communities to each of those.
Not a very
Also,
long drive time from LA.
no, it's an hour from San Diego and it's an hour and a half from LA, kind of downtown proper. So,
Mm-hmm.
we that was I think one of the benefits of that particular resort and that location is there are 22 million people within about a less than 3 hour drive.
That's a
So
lot
it
of people.
provides a good market for us to provide a unique offering.
So, what did you learn at Pagosa that you were able to leverage when you did Murrieta?
Well, we've talked about some of it. Team, culture, water
Mm-hmm.
first, coming out of is probably a carryover from the senior living space, but the people who oftentimes do what feels like thankless work in that space are the ones that make a difference in the lives of our senior living resident. I think not dissimilar. It's the team on the property that engage with guests every day that take an experience from being this is a pretty place to this was an unforgettable experience. We have a superpower, and that is the water, and that it has naturally relaxing and beneficial components to it that aid in sleep and happiness and relaxation. But it's the interactions with the team. And so the success in Pagosa, one of the things I'm most proud of is we have over 12,000 guest reviews with a average rating of it's been 4.8 for the last 3 years running. And historically, I think we're 4.6 to 4.7, even including the guest reviews prior to our acquisition. So the team has done an amazing job of achieving guest satisfaction. But behind that, what's not reported is we have an AES score or associate engagement score that speaks to engagement of employees and teams that I would put up against any of the top operators out there. We score in the 90s across all departments on a regular basis. So it was that team and that culture and just the passion for making an impact on people that we really wanted to bring first and foremost. But we also learned on the opposite side, the guest and the customer in Southern California is different. I almost say very different than Southern Colorado. There's a different expectation and definition of what health and wellness means. There's a different time constraint when you can drive to Murrieta in an hour versus having to make a trip in a destination vacation field to Pagosa. So meeting the customer where they are and delivering an experience to them, it's not directly translatable from one property to the other. And so those are some of the things that we're still working to get right or get better.